Have you ever felt like your days are slipping through your fingers like dry sand? Do you ever look at the clock at the end of a long, busy day and wonder where the hours actually went, only to realize you've spent your most precious resource on things that left your soul feeling empty? Many of us live our lives as if we have an infinite supply of tomorrows, forgetting that the sun sets on every life exactly the same way. In a small, quiet village nestled at the foot of a sleeping mountain, there lived a young man named Elias. The village was a place that moved with the steady rhythm of the seasons, but Elias moved to no rhythm at all. He was known to many as a tomorrow man. If a fence needed mending, he would do it tomorrow. If a friend needed a hand, he would see them next week. He spent his afternoons sitting by the river, throwing stones into the current and watching the ripples fade into nothingness, not realizing that his own potential was fading with them. His father, a man whose face was etched with the deep lines of many winters, watched Elias with a heavy heart. He saw that his son wasn't a bad person. He was simply a man who believed he was wealthy in time, not realizing he was spending his inheritance far too quickly on things of no value. The breaking point came during the great harvest. While the rest of the village worked together to secure the food for winter, Elias had spent his days wandering the woods, convinced he had plenty of time to finish his share. When a sudden early frost hit, Elias's neglected crops were ruined. He stood in the cold field, exhausted and empty-handed, realizing his procrastination had finally cost him something he couldn't just tomorrow.
That evening, the father sat Elias down. He didn't yell. Instead, he reached into his pocket and handed Elias an old, scratched silver watch. It was heavy, and the glass was webbed with tiny cracks. "Take this to the market tomorrow," the father said calmly. "Ask the merchants what they would give you for it, but no matter what they offer, do not sell it. Just come back and tell me the price they quoted." The next morning, Elias went to the market. He first approached a junk dealer. The man squinted at the scratched casing and shrugged. "It's old and the glass is broken. I'll give you 5 coins for the scrap metal." Elias then went to a high-end antique shop. The owner polished the lens and looked through a magnifying glass. "This is a rare make from a forgotten era," he said. "I can give you 500 coins for its historical value." Finally, Elias went to the oldest part of the city, to a tiny shop where a master watchmaker sat under a single, warm lamp. When Elias asked the price, the old man didn't look at the silver. He put the watch to his ear, listening to the steady, rhythmic tick, tick, tick. "The silver is worth little," the watchmaker whispered, "but the movement inside is a miracle of precision. I cannot put a price on this. It is a masterpiece." Elias returned home, his head spinning. "Father, the junk dealer offered 5 coins, the antique dealer 500, and the watchmaker said it was priceless. How can the same thing have so many different values?" The father smiled sadly. "Now, Elias, I want you to go back to that master watchmaker, but this time, don't ask him the price of the watch. Ask him the price of the time inside the watch." Elias thought his father was losing his mind, but he obeyed. When he returned to the shop and asked the question, the watchmaker stopped his work. He looked Elias in the eye and laughed softly, a sound like dry leaves rustling. "Young man," the watchmaker said, "the watch is just a box. You can buy a gold box or a plastic box. But the time is the same for the king in his palace and the beggar in the street. Everyone gets exactly 24 hours a day. You can buy the clock, but you can never buy the second that just passed. It is the only thing in this world that is worth everything when you have it, and worth nothing once it's gone." Elias felt a cold shiver. He realized that for years he had been treating his life like the junk dealer treated the watch, as something cheap and disposable scrap metal. His father gave him a practical challenge. For the next 7 days, I want you to account for every single hour. Before you spend an hour on a distraction, ask yourself this rule of thumb. Am I trading a priceless diamond for a handful of dust? The first few days were agonizing. Elias's friends mocked him when he declined to sit idly by the river. He felt the itch of boredom and the weight of physical effort. But by the 4th day, he had fixed the fences. By the 6th, he had cleared a new field for the spring. He found that when he respected his time, he began to respect himself. He felt a new kind of strength, a quiet pride that comes from being the master of one's own hours. The story of Elias is a mirror for us all. We often worry about our bank accounts, our possessions, and our status, yet we are reckless with the one asset we can never earn back. Remember this: the value of your life is determined by how you value your time. You are the watchmaker of your own soul. Do not let the world treat your hours like scrap metal. Whether you are rich or poor, you have been given the same 24-hour treasure today. Use it to build, to love, and to grow, because once the sun sets, that version of you is gone forever. What will you do with your next hour?